Hello, my name is Dan, and I'll be talking about prison reforms. How many of you know someone in prison or jail, or someone that might have gone through prison or jail before? If you do, you're not alone. Just like me and my group mates, we know someone that has gone through prison or jail. According to prisonpolicy.org, a number around 2.3 million people within this country are being held incarcerated. This is the highest number within the whole entire world, or within every single country in the world. According to prison policy, a number around 50 to 90% of these people being incarcerated will be rearrested within 1 year of being released. This is a big issue because we can't. That's why this prison system is being overloaded with inmates. We are qualified to talk about this subject because we are minorities, which is a big issue as well in the prison reform problems. As well as we all know someone that has been through prison or might currently be going through prison reform. We have grown up through our lives. We have also seen how this prison system is corrupt. Just think, how can the prison system make someone go through the prison and exit without being able to socialize with the outside world? You'll be stuck with the mindset you're still in prison, and you'll just get rearrested, and you won't be able to get a job after you are released. Prison reform is to improve the penal system. The penal system gives access to these programs, which will be able to effectively allow these prisoners to get the help they desperately need. Prison reform will give them social skills, mental health, which is a key in prison. This will allow inmates to successfully go back into the outside world and socialize their lives. This will socialize their lives, and they will be able to get a job, and this will allow them effectively to lower the amounts of crimes and chances of them being rearrested in the future, because they have the mindset, oh, I can do this. In this speech, we will discuss to you problems and solutions for prison reform. Now that I've discussed to you the introduction, let me bring to you my friend that's going to talk about prison problems.
So as for the main problem as to why prison should be reformed, I believe it is because of the justice system. Now, the justice system has been known for a very long time for having some issues and causing some problems that lead way too many people into prison, as well as the type of treatments that they receive while doing their time. And the U.S. has been known for its mass incarceration rates, and I believe this is because of the Tough on Crime Act that was made in the 1980s. Since then, the making of this act has made many changes to the justice system. Changes such as the court system, how getting parole would work, as well as certain laws being changed to be made harder on people as well as more stricter on people. The three-strike law is another issue that has been causing some problems as well, with the initial purpose of discouraging any possible repeating offenders with threats of harsher sentencing. It was doing this to hopefully lower the inmate population. Instead, it's done the total and exact opposite, leading to a massive increase in the inmate population, as well as having more life sentences without parole, as well as having more prison sentences because of nonviolent crimes. Since then, over 53% of people have been getting sent into prisons without any chance of ever getting out or being able to return to their daily lives. Treatment has been another issue in today's society of prisons. In some prisons, there have been reports of guards being very verbally and physically abusive to some of the inmates, making the inmate's life in prison harder than it needs to be or already is. Now, other examples of the types of treatments or situations that could affect an inmate's health or safety are things such as overcrowding, violence, sexual abuse, as well as mistreatments based on race, sex, sexual identity, or disability. So now that I have gone over the issues and problems, I will let my partner James take it from here to hopefully discuss possible solutions that could help solve these issues.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, so now we just heard about the problems, right? We're gonna try to talk about solutions to make everything better. So, first off, let's start with removing mental ill patients. Now, why do that? I mean, when you hear about mentally ill patients, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Putting them in a prison, letting them collect dust and rot, and not get any better, or put them in an actual mental hospital where they'll get help, they'll get medicine, they'll get the treatments that are needed. Because see, if you put them in a prison, they're not going to have any of that for them. They don't have the medicine to take care of them and help maintain their whatever mental urges they might have, and they definitely don't have the treatment. So why waste their time? Why waste space? Just put them where they need to be. That's a really easy solution. Another thing that we need to do is try to improve the insides of the prisons. You know, the little things like how they still take showers in some prisons nowadays, the way they overstuff people in jail cells, all kinds of stuff. So let's talk about the showers first. So you guys know the joke, don't drop the soap, and if you do drop, you better not pick it up, because you know what happens when you pick it up. Bad stuff. They still have those kind of showers in some prisons these days. And I think they should, they have enough money to give these people their own individual showers. Hell, if anything, we have the taxpayer money to cover all of that stuff. So what are you guys doing? Can we get rid of these kind of showers? It's nasty. Another thing that we need to do about the overstuffed prisons. Why are you putting 4 or 5 people in the same cell? If anything, 2 should be maximum. And on top of that, they're hecka dirty. Why are these cells so dirty? You guys have janitors. They get paid some good money. Clean these rooms. It's disgusting. So for that, all you guys have to do is clean up, do your job, give these people their own rooms. There shouldn't be that many people in there to begin with. But I won't get into that yet. And funny as it sounds, there's actually a rule in the Constitution that protects us, of course, but even them, because they're still human beings, from living in unsanitary and cruel and unusual punishments. Everyone has that right. And they're being stuffed in these dirty jail cells, all next to each other, taking these showers with no space. Like, give me some room. All sorts of crazy stuff. So let's try and take care of that. And another thing that I'm starting to hear is that Gavin Newsom is actually proposing, and it's in the works, he's proposing to remove 2 state prisons and 3 juvenile state-ran prisons. And on top of that, the maximum parole, which is usually 5, is going to be reduced to 2, which is good because they're not going to be in there as long. You know, it won't take as much space. They'll be in and out sort of quick. You know, if their parole is 5, it'll be reduced to 2. They'll be out. They'll be good. Last but not least, probably the biggest part of this whole speech, to really help the reform of prisons, because this new proposition coming up is bad news. And let me tell you why. So let's say you or me, whoever, steal something that's worth, let's say $250. Yeah, $250. And they put you in prison. Doesn't that sound kind of crazy? I mean, it's only $250. You shouldn't be stealing anyways, but you don't deserve to be sitting in the state prison. I mean, think about it. You know how they tell the stories? Oh, what are you in here for? Oh, I stabbed a guy. I killed him. What are you in here for? Oh, home invasion and robbery. What are you in here for? I stole a bike that was worth $300 at Walmart. Now they got me in here for 2 years with no bail. That sounds crazy. They're going to look at you like, oh, really? Yeah. And, you know, this kind of thing could put, let's say, teenagers and people of color, minorities, who are basically raised in the hoods in some tough conditions. They do dumb stuff all the time like that. Do they get placed in prisons nowadays? No. Do you want them to? If you do, you might want to vote for Prop 20. But if you don't, and you want to make a change and make the prisons a little smaller than what they already are, don't vote for Prop 20. And it's going to cost tens of millions every year from us. So if you want to put them all in these prisons, fine. You're going to be paying a lot more money. But if you want to save your money and make these prisons smaller, like they should have been, don't vote Prop 20. I'm not, I don't have the right to tell you what to vote for, but if you want to make a change and if you want to help, please don't vote for Prop 20. I know I'm not. But I'm not going to ramble too long here. I said my piece on how we can help give solutions, so I'm just going to let Benjamin take over and conclude all this for us. Thank you.
In conclusion, prison reform is essential in helping those who are doing time or who have done time to not only get through the ordeal of prison safely, but to also help them leave it with the peace of mind that they can move on with their lives. Today we talked about how big a problem mass incarceration is, and how many of the inmates in the system right now are low-level, non-violent offenders who have been wronged by the unfair laws such as the Tough on Crime Act and the Three Strikes Law. We also went over the state of prisons today around America, with the unfavorable conditions and the mistreatment of inmates. The solution to these problems can be found in the four we just went over, and that is 1. Providing mentally ill prisoners another place to stay, and which would free up space in prisons. 2. Improve the conditions in confinement, which basically is improve the quality of life in general in the prisons. And 3. Reduce prison sizes, which would save a lot of money. And 4. Finally, 4. Voting no on Prop 20, which would be preventing another unfair law from being passed. Bernie Sanders once said in a tweet, "There needs to be a path back from prison." And I think this statement sums up our argument simply and effectively, because prison is an event in a lot of people's lives every year that's life-changing. It can change their lives and their families' lives for better or for worse. And for most of the time, it's for the worse. But prison shouldn't be the final destination for people who have made some mistakes, because we all make mistakes, especially those who are willing to change themselves for the better. The bottom line is that, as of now, across America, prisons across America are too unforgiving compared to other countries, and the quality of life within them are inconsistent across the country. Inmates at these prisons are still people, and we must treat them as such. Prison reform is a topic that needs more attention in order to help all these people get their lives back on track. And with prison reforms, we would reduce recidivism, which is a synonym of relapse, and as the word suggests, it's basically the probability of a criminal being a repeat offender in the future. And this would help a lot because it would keep people out of prisons, which would save a lot of money when it comes to upkeep and stuff like that. So with all the solutions we discussed today, we can turn prisons from a hell on earth into proper, effective rehabilitation centers. Thank you for listening.